Good morning, everyone. It's Monday morning. I have Dr. Nina Walsh from Flow Natural Medicine Acupuncture here. It's we had a wonderful weekend, and now we have a little bit cooler morning for Monday.
Yes, but still we know spring is here.
Yes,
right?
yes.
It's here to stay.
Yes. So we are. Our topic is about spring, and then the organ of spring is the liver. And then we briefly touched on the liver cleansing last time. And then we want to get into a little deeper today and then talk about what's the implication of having the healthy liver, and then also what's the implication of having the maybe not so healthy liver. And then we talk about around that, the food and the diets and some herbs and then some of our typical habits that we have, what we can do to really nurture our liver for the spring organ.
Yes. So, and of course, our listeners, I'm sure, already know that liver is a very important organ. But I just wanted to kind of emphasize how much work it does for us.
Yes.
Of course, we know the liver is located right here, just kind of under this lower right rib cage, and it takes up a fair amount of space, and it is associated with its paired organ, the gallbladder, right? And together they're pretty kind of miraculous pair. So yes, spring is the time of the liver, and so we know that liver is one of the most important organs that participates in detoxification. There is something called cytochrome P450, not to overburden our listeners with too much scientific terminology, but it's just important to know that this is kind of the most important pathway in the body, enzymatic pathway, where every single cell cleanses and detoxifies itself. But there are organs that are especially active in that, and liver is probably the most active organ, and it does that for the entire body, for the rest of the body as well. So it is working all the time. So some of the functions, so it deals with toxicity, right? The toxicity that comes from the environment, from the food that we eat, from the drinks that we drink. Emotions, actually, yes, because inflammation can also be triggered or promoted by stress, by the way that we respond to stress.
So depending on how we feel about ourselves, whether we are upset or very sad or those things, our body creates the neurotransmitters or these chemicals, the signals, either the inflammation or the anti-inflammation
or healing or anti-inflammation. Yes, and so liver participates in processing those chemicals, right? And so and those chemicals trigger cascades of inflammatory signals. So another very important job that the liver does is participates in blood sugar metabolism. Right? It's not just insulin and glucagon, it's not just pancreas, but these organs are working together very closely. And because it's never just a static state, right? But it's always a dynamic process that our blood sugar is being taken up into the cells and then released. And the liver is the organ where we store excess sugar, something that we did not use immediately for energy after a meal.
So it functions as a storage.
So storage as well in the form of glycogen, and then also releasing, creating easily utilizable fuel from that storage, and that, and then the next one, liver metabolizes cholesterol. It helps in cholesterol metabolism, so therefore it regulates the level of cholesterol in the body.
Right.
And also,
and cholesterol being the mother molecule to become our other hormones like sexual hormones and other hormones, then it is liver is very actively involved in the orchestra of managing our body through hormones.
Many hormones, and so definitely, and so which that's another very important link we should probably touch upon. But in terms of cholesterol of course plays a huge role in the health of cardiovascular system, right? Because cholesterol has protective function, but when it's oxidized, when it becomes pro-inflammatory, right? And so liver deals with that as well. So it's important to maintain not only proper cholesterol levels, but also prevent cholesterol particles from oxidation, because that's when they present the risk, for cardiovascular system.
Isn't that why the glutathione function in the liver becomes very important too as an antioxidant, making sure everything's metabolized in the right way?
Yes, the system that I mentioned, the cytochrome P450, which is especially abundant in the liver cells, but also in the kidney cells, and then the lungs, and then the brain, and then the heart. So, liver. Glutathione is what helps move the toxic molecules along the transformation pathway, so that then the toxins can be moved out of the body safely. So we use glutathione a lot, and I always say glutathione should be the biggest news in medicine and in health science, and it really is becoming that, and there is a lot of good literature, a lot of good studies available on that, and it's just kind of an interesting molecule, because we use it every day, we use it all the time, we make it in the body every day, but we spend it a lot. And so it's important to supplement and to make sure that our diet is rich in substances that help our body build enough glutathione, because for instance, glutathione also participates in detoxification of heavy metals that also happens in the liver as one of the organs, right? But liver is a very important organ for that. It takes 3 to 4 molecules of glutathione to help metabolize 1 molecule of lead, for instance, right? So heavy metals. So we use glutathione at very, very high levels. So so liver is an amazingly important organ. And then in terms of hormonal metabolism, that is also very related to blood sugar metabolism and cholesterol metabolism, like everything else in the body, where everything is connected, right? So I wanted to show you this particular image. Last time we touched on the concept of fatty liver.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And fatty liver, we know now, is very prevalent. We know that from the data at blood banks, for instance, because they screen blood donors for various conditions, because it needs to be healthy and clean and appropriate for use. Yes, for transfusions, and they found that up to 2/3 of the donors, of prospective donors, actually had some stage of fatty liver disease, which is pretty scary, because it's an important epidemiological finding in terms of our population. That's what is happening with our population in general, and it doesn't have to be alcohol related. It doesn't have to be alcoholism related. In fact, it isn't for the most part, right? There is that percentage, but not largely.
What do you think is the most prominent reason why we have 2/3 of the population having the fatty liver?
Right. So it is.
Why do you think that is?
Well, we actually have pretty good knowledge about that already. So, and it is definitely due to inflammation. Inflammation that is caused by various factors, and some more prevalent than others. And we know that a huge role in inflammation is played by pro-inflammatory diet, on a daily basis. What are some of those pro-inflammatory foods? Obviously, processed foods. Simple carbs. Yeah, white bread. Donuts, cakes, pastries, and all that,
and the soft drinks,
soft soda, absolutely, with all the different chemical additives and flavorings. Those are extremely pro-inflammatory.
And fruit juice, right, rather than eating the whole fruit.
Processed fruit juice can, because it's very high in sugar, very high in fructose, and that can be pro-inflammatory for a lot of people. And so there is something called advanced glycation end products. So these pro-inflammatory foods, but not only those foods, some other toxins as well, and stress to some degree as well, can create that sort of expansive aging process in the body, can stimulate that and interfere in many processes. First, blood sugar regulation, of course, and then the leptin and adiponectin hormone balance. Leptin is the hormone that regulates satiety and also fat metabolism in the way that our body uses it, whether for storage or for energy. And so we kind of forget, our body forgets the how to use, fat, healthy fat, of course, for energy and, kind of keeps it all in storage. But what contributes to that fat is excess, as we mentioned, processed carbs. So high sugar diets. And what starts happening is a formation of fat, mostly around the belly, around the waist, and that is called visceral fat. And that visceral fat is toxic. In and of itself, it has toxins, but also it stimulates, again, inflammation in the body. It secretes pro-inflammatory chemicals and signals. And liver, which is the detoxification organ, begins to respond to that, and so it turns on its detoxification pathways. It works very, very, very hard, but sometimes it is not healthy enough to deal with that with that inflammation, and over time it becomes not able to deal with that inflammation. And then what starts happening is deposition of fat cells in or formation of fat cells in the liver, which there should never be fat in the liver, for it to be healthy and functional and clean. And then that leads to inflammatory process in the liver, and that stimulates a higher rate of liver cells death. Which is called apoptosis, right? Because these cells are no longer functional, and so they're just dying. And then at the more advanced stage, it becomes, fibrosis. So there are changes, there's hardening of the tissue, connective tissue in the liver and cells, and then eventually cirrhosis. And that is very close to
liver cancer.
To the end stage hepatocellular carcinoma or liver cancer. So that's how So
it starts very, very innocuous.
Innocuous, exactly. It seems like I was listening to this talk the other day, and the physician was saying, a person is dealing with food choices or food decisions on a daily basis about 250 times, and usually the answer is yes. So it starts out yes, maybe another piece of chocolate, maybe another little donut. Well, we have this office party, I'll have another soda, or but unfortunately all of that is really not benign. But the good news is the liver organ is very resilient. It can regenerate even from a pretty advanced stage of inflammation, and spring is the best time to do that. And so absolutely, for all the hard work that our liver does for us, we really should pay in gratitude and in just good efforts to take care of it on a daily basis, because it does this work on a daily basis all the time.
So what are some of the good choices that we can make?
Well, the best choice that we can make is avoiding these toxic substances. That's number one, because liver is dealing with everything anyways. Like we secrete hormones all the time. Liver metabolizes hormones all the time. We're dealing, cholesterol circulates all the time. Liver participates in cholesterol regulation and metabolism all the time. So it is doing all its work on a regular basis anyways, the good work. So trying not to add extra burden of work, is a good start. So just next time, just consider that, right?
So my mind, the maybe first thing that I can do in place of simple sugar or processed food, I perhaps need to choose complex carbohydrates and those in a way, so vegetables.
Yes, so of course balanced diet is always what we emphasize, but part of balanced diet is a large amount of plant foods, and these are the high fiber foods. It's not high fiber wheat cereal, but it is real, vegetables, robust, healthy vegetables with lots of healthy fiber, and also vitamins and minerals and all kinds of nutrients.
I was shocked to find out not too long ago that our government, USDA, actually recognize pizza as a vegetable.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Where does it grow?
So it has the tomatoes and those things.
Okay.
So they identify. So on the food pyramid, pizza is on the bottom, something that you need to eat a lot.
That is so amazing.
It's a wheat, it's a vegetable. So I think that's where
a lot of scientific research must have gone into that, and I just wonder how much it costs.
Yeah, so some of our our country's strengths is that the commercialized farming, and so there is a big farm companies out there.
Yes, it's a very, very diplomatic word, strength.
Yes, yeah. So that's where you say vegetables. Our listeners might have some different ideas.
Right. No, when I say vegetables, I mean vegetables that grow in the ground, that you can pick from the ground, that what it is, that was created by nature with all the incredible goodness and bursting with nutrients and vitamins and antioxidants, so that you can heal your body. And every time you eat a vegetable, you're practicing plant medicine, which is amazing. It has this incredible wisdom of nature. And so what are some of the examples of high fiber vegetables? These are the vegetables that you have to chew, the vegetables that have like the strong structural material, like carrots, for instance, or celery, or kale, or beets, or Jerusalem artichokes, or asparagus, broccoli, or cabbages, bok choy, all these squashes, radish, wonderful. And radish and actually, and bok choy and celery are really, really perfect foods for the liver, or among many really good foods for the liver. So that, and I always encourage people to make sure that they eat at least a half a plate of variety of vegetables on a daily basis. So, and I want to emphasize another family of vegetables for the reason that we already mentioned, glutathione. You pronounce that, right? Yes. Which is the number one antioxidant in the body. So it helps the liver in detoxification, and helps move all the toxic substances out of the liver with bile and then out of the body. And so our body makes that amazing antioxidant from simple, humble, cruciferous vegetables. So every day, please make sure that you have some of these on your plates. And what are some of those examples?
The cauliflower,
Brussels sprouts,
kale,
cabbage, all the cabbages, Napa cabbage, Savoy cabbage, white cabbage, purple cabbage. Arugula actually is in that family. Radishes are also in that family. So there's a wonderful plethora of these foods. And so they can be used fresh in salads, or, like a snack or something, or lightly steamed, of course, sauteed, and in soups.
Or some of ethnic foods like sauerkrauts. It's like some fermented form, or some like kimchi, a kimchi,
maybe.
Those are like a form of some ethnic food.
Right, and those actually have the sour flavor, as we mentioned last time, which is the flavor of the liver. That also helps the liver cleanse, detoxify, and restore itself. That's right. So, and then in addition to that, I wanted to mention some herbs, because we were talking about liver cleanse. So for the liver cleanse, what I would do, I would try to lighten your diet first of all for a couple of weeks. Just try to have definitely absolutely remove processed foods, but then also emphasize vegetables, and hopefully maybe just have, if you can, animal foods maybe a couple of times a week, no more. Otherwise you can use vegetables. And in terms of animal foods, I think eggs are okay, but then legumes, sprouted, soaked and lightly sprouted legumes would be a good source of fiber and protein at that time. I'm okay with healthy fats. I think those are important. So, for some caloric intake and some for higher density food. So, but for a couple of weeks, just kind of make your diet lighter like that. And then you can also add to this diet apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar, again, it has the sour taste. It is it's fermented. It's naturally fermented, so it contains live cultures. It's not processed. It's not pasteurized, so it has live cultures in it. And apple cider vinegar helps also stimulate the detoxification pathways in the liver, and it in general, it promotes healthy, strong, robust digestion. And I recommend a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar in a little bit of water 10-15 minutes before a meal. To just stimulate that cleansing process. And apple cider vinegar in and of itself, it also stimulates a cleansing function in the intestine between meals, something called migrating motor complex. You can also take a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in the beginning of the day, in the morning, in the first glass of water, also to just kind of help stimulate the liver.
That's a great idea.
Because we want to make sure that bile, which is produced in the liver but is stored in the gallbladder, and is the substance which binds all the toxins and removes them from the liver, we need to make sure that it flows, that it doesn't become static and viscous, and then it starts eroding actually those little canals in which it flows, and then eventually gallstones can form, as we mentioned, on the gallbladder. So apple cider vinegar helps with that. And then I would start adding herbs, because you just want to kind of ramp up this process gently. You don't want to hit the liver, which may be sluggish, may be tired, especially after the winter, especially if it's overburdened by heavy, rich diet, and stressed out.
Yes.
So you just kind of start stimulating this process gently and opening up all these pathways. Of course, you need to make sure that there's no constipation, because the bile in which the toxins abound has to come out with bowel movement from the body, and that has to go in a timely manner. And so the herbs that I love are turmeric. Yes. We talked about turmeric many times, and I even say, turmeric for everybody, for everything, right? So turmeric is an amazing anti-inflammatory herb for the liver. It is a liver restorative herb, so it helps heal those liver cells and produce healthy new cells so that they're functional and happy, so to speak. It is also preventive for many types of cancer, including liver cancer. It is a great detoxifier. It also gives you energy. It's a tonic. Actually, it's an adaptogen. So it is also wonderful for cardiovascular system. It's cardioprotective. It's great for brain health. So by helping the liver, we're helping all these other systems as well. And I use turmeric as a powder, as the spice. But because it's a spice, it's going to be a little bit difficult to take in large amounts as a spice. So I add it to my juices, and juice is another wonderful way to help the liver, or use in the liver cleanse. And the juice that I use is carrot, beet, celery, green apple, and then I add a little bit of parsley and a little bit of lemon. So foods that are rich in chlorophyll, like parsley, and parsley specifically is actually a great detoxifier. They also help with rejuvenation process in the liver. And so in that juice, you can kind of hide that
the taste of
somewhat,
turmeric.
Spicy taste of turmeric when it's in large amount like that. And I would use a teaspoon. I actually use a heaping teaspoon. You can use more. There's really no side effect. In Ayurvedic medicine, they sometimes use it up to several tablespoons for specific therapeutic effects. So there is no, there's no harm, but it will be obviously strong tasting. The only thing, it is warming. So in people who have more constitutional heat, who tend to be warmer and hotter, so they may feel that exacerbate. Yes. So that's the only thing, but in large amounts. Yes. Then the next one, obviously everybody knows milk thistle. Right. And milk thistle is an amazing herb. Again, it helps in treatment and prevention of fatty liver. And we use that as a tincture or in capsule. So I would use 500 milligrams of milk thistle daily for 2 weeks during the cleanse. And then
I would add milk thistle seed.
It's milk thistle seed supplement. That's right.
Okay.
And so another herb that I love is Schisandra. Schisandra came to us from Asian medicine. It has been used in Chinese medicine for thousands of years, and currently it is actually used for treatment even of liver cirrhosis.
Oh, wow.
So it's a berry.
Wow.
And we talked about it, and I think in one of our previous talks where we emphasized the use of Schisandra as an anti-aging and energy promoting medicine, and it really is that as well. But it also has this tremendous liver restorative, liver regenerating potential, and helps the liver in detoxification. And I love it because I think it's tasty. In Chinese medicine, it's called Wu Wei Zi, which is 5 flavor berries. So it has all 5 flavors, including the sour, but also the bitter, a little bit of salty, a little bit of sweet. So yeah, it's a wonderful, potent medicine. And then the next one is dandelion. Dandelion, we all know, ubiquitous, little, humble dandelion. But what touches me, is when you walk, on the sidewalk, and all of a sudden you see the crack in the concrete, and this tiny little plant, breaks through the concrete with, this fuzzy yellow little head and bright green leaves, and just getting from
out of nowhere, actually.
Exactly. Yes. And so it is a true testament to this amazing vital force, that we all actually have in us. And we connect with it, right? When we eat those plant foods, when we utilize that vital force for our healing. So the dandelion has also wonderful healing properties for the liver, cleansing properties for the liver. It is also great to help metabolize cholesterol. It is also wonderful for kidneys and many other actually organs as well. But dandelion we can use as a food, not just as an herb in the form of tincture or capsule. And that's what I do. I recommend
salad, right?
Adding it to salads, exactly, as just a green, right? It has lots of chlorophyll, but it has a little bit of bitter, and bitterness is, good for digestion. It helps again stimulate digestive juices and liver enzymes. So dandelion I also use in my green smoothies, and green smoothie is also a way to get lots of green vegetables in. Since it does have that bitter flavor, I usually combine it with other milder herbs, such as maybe a little bit of spinach, or bok choy is a wonderful mild plant.
And radish, maybe.
Radish does have pungent flavor as well, but they would work really well in the salad together. Another great herb is burdock. Burdock can also be used as food, and that's burdock root, and you can buy it at health food stores. It's just kind of this elongated tuber, very mild flavor.
Right.
I put it in my smoothies, but you can use it in soups as well, or saute it with like in a vegetable medley, stir fry and so on, and also as a tincture, kind of extract, which is much more potent, right? So kind of has this stronger therapeutic effect. Now burdock as well is wonderful for liver cleansing and also for blood sugar and cholesterol metabolism. So the next herb that I would like to add is astragalus. Astragalus is one of the herbs that is a tonic for several organs, liver being one of them. And also it's a tonic for the kidneys and for the lungs. So by helping our kidney, we always help other organs, and because these herbs do so many other wonderful things. So astragalus also has the ability to support and balance immune system, to gently regulate it. So if there's an inflammatory process, especially autoimmune process, astragalus is very helpful in that. And then there are herbs such as Baikal skullcap, for instance. And so these are kind of these are herbs again that came to us from Asian medicine, and we know that they also are liver restorative and they help regulate different functions of the liver. And one of the important things is that the liver can be not congested, can be open to help regulate processes in the body. And in Asian medicine, we call it moving energy. So, but basically regulate, many processes for other organs as well. So to help the liver be open, and we call it harmonize the liver, to help harmonize the liver, we use these herbs and also fragrant substances, fragrant herbs. For instance, herbal tea with fragrant herbs in it, such as jasmine, such as chamomile. Chamomile is another wonderful liver herb also. Jasmine and rose, like rosebuds. I love putting rosebuds in pretty much all of my teas. Liver cleansing or energy building tea. So because
you made a sprays last time.
Correct, and I use it for my skin. That's true. And then another example of an aromatic herb that would be great for the liver is peppermint, also, right? And yet another one, chrysanthemum, Chinese chrysanthemum, and they're also delicious. And so I would use the herbal tinctures, or I would use these herbs in different combinations as food or in the smoothies. And in addition, I would make teas, using those aromatic herbs every day. And so this, in a very gentle way, but very effective way, helps liver in detoxification and rejuvenation, actually, like healing and restoring liver cells. Rather than, even though I think there's a place for that when done correctly, but when people approach a much more drastic liver cleanse, using strong stimulating herbs or substances without proper kind of preparation period, that can be harmful, harmful and painful and not really effective. And some of the side effects may be like the dangerous side effect is actually getting the bile stones dislodged and start moving and create a lot of pain, and maybe even like damage in the bile duct. And then, of course, things like body aches, digestive upset, skin issues, because if toxicity all of a sudden is increased in the body, if we're liberating it into the bloodstream, then the body will try to get rid of it, and so there may be rashes and so on, headaches. So these are some of the primary kind of things that I utilize, and of course acupuncture, because acupuncture is one of the best ways to work with the liver, dealing with stress, actually opening all the different pathways in the body and helping enhance the balance or promote the balance internally on many levels. So there is also a treatment that we can use for the liver and for the entire digestive system for inflammation, in the abdomen, called castor oil packs.
Yes.
So very simple. Very simple, very traditional, old naturopathic treatment. Yes, and so we can maybe post the instructions on the website for that. But the idea is that you take a natural fiber cloth and you saturate one side with castor oil, and then you just apply it to the skin of the liver. It's very anti-inflammatory, the skin over the liver and the entire abdomen, as a matter of fact. And then place like a hot water bottle on top and just, hold it for 20-30 minutes. It's very anti-inflammatory. It helps soften some of the adhesions and some of the tissues. And we mentioned it in some of our previous conversations. So, and I will be happy also to provide the recipe for my liver cleansing tea, liver detox tea, using those herbs so that our listeners can benefit from that.
And then I know you briefly mentioned about your liver detoxing juice, and then also your liver detoxing smoothies. But that would be a really good thing to, we can provide
to share as well. Yes, and that will be definitely part of the ebook.
Yes. So, okay, great. So today we got one layer deeper around the spring organ, the liver, and the liver detoxification. And then what is the implication when your liver becomes a little more sluggish and become a little bit more fatty, or become more, fibrosis and all that. So, and then that's where we touched on the good choices that we can make every day, what to choose, right? So many decisions there to make, and then making more healthy choices of more green than high fiber, complex carbohydrates with a good proteins and good fats to balance and then help your liver to do the work for you, for your entire body.
Right, that it does, every day. And the functions that we mentioned are just a few of the very important work that liver does for our body in the metabolic processes.
Right.
So they're really vitally important.
I do hear from the young generations with our young people about the some of maybe the cycles and having menstrual irregulations and all that. So maybe next time we can get into that.
Yes, because liver is key in regulating fertility and regulating cycles in women, and especially in certain conditions such as PCOS.
Yes. So thank you, Dr. Nina Walsh, again today. And then I'm looking forward to have you again, and then to get into more deeper to help our listeners here. And then if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to leave questions on our website. And also don't hesitate to contact Dr. Nina Walsh at her practice called Flow Natural Medicine and Acupuncture. Well, thank you so much, and we will see you again.
Thank you.